You trust your emotions, don't you? You think they guide you to the right choices, that they help you understand the world? But what if I told you that emotions are one of the biggest lies you've ever believed?
Think about it. How many times have your emotions led you to make a bad decision, to say something you regret, to fall for something that felt right in the moment but turned out completely wrong?
Kant believed that emotions are the enemy of true morality, of clear thinking, of wisdom itself. And in this video, we're going to break down why he thought relying on your feelings is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. Because if Kant was right, then everything you thought you knew about emotions is completely wrong. Imagine this. You wake up in a great mood, the sun is shining, your favorite song is playing, and everything just feels right. But then your phone buzzes, a message, something small, something stupid, but suddenly that good mood, gone. Now you're irritated, maybe even angry. The world hasn't changed, but your emotions have, and in an instant your entire perspective shifts. This is exactly why Kant believed emotions couldn't be trusted. They are fleeting, unstable, and constantly shifting based on external events. One moment, you feel like helping someone, the next, you're too tired or annoyed to care. One day, you love a person, the next, something they say rubs you the wrong way, and suddenly you're questioning everything. How can something so unreliable be a foundation for making life's most important decisions? Kant argued that emotions don't lead us to truth, they simply happen to us. Think about it. Do you choose to feel happy? Do you decide to be sad? No. Emotions rise and fall like waves, completely outside of our control, and yet people rely on them to make choices every single day. Should you take this job? Should you end a relationship? Should you help a friend in need? Most people follow their gut, their instincts, their feelings. But what if that's the worst possible way to make a decision? Kant saw emotions as impulses, just like hunger or thirst. If you're starving, your body demands food. But does that mean you should eat the first thing in front of you, no matter what it is? You pause, you think, you make a rational decision. Emotions, Kant believed, should be treated the same way. Just because something feels good in the moment doesn't mean it's right. Just because something hurts doesn't mean it's wrong. Acting purely on feeling is like being a slave to impulse. You are no longer in control of your actions, and that's what Kant feared most. A world where people aren't truly choosing how to live, but just reacting to whatever emotions hit them in the moment. It's why he believed that true morality, true wisdom, true strength could never come from emotion. It had to come from something deeper, something more stable. Because if you let emotions guide your choices, are they really your choices at all? But it gets worse. Because when we let emotions control morality, things become really dangerous. We like to believe that we are good people, that when we do the right thing, it's because our hearts are in the right place. We help a stranger because we feel compassion. We tell the truth because we feel guilty if we don't. We stand up for others because we feel anger toward injustice. And this sounds noble, doesn't it? To follow our feelings, to trust our hearts. Kant had one problem with this idea. What happens when the feeling isn't there? Imagine a man walking down the street. He sees someone in need, a homeless person asking for food, an elderly woman struggling to carry her bags, a lost child crying. Today, he's in a good mood. He feels generous, kind, compassionate, so he stops and helps. He gives the homeless person some money, carries the woman's groceries, comforts the child. Now imagine the same man on a different day. He's tired, he's stressed, his boss just yelled at him, his bills are piling up, he's lost in his own worries. He sees the same homeless person, the same struggling woman, the same crying child, but this time he doesn't feel like helping, so he doesn't. What changed? The world didn't, the suffering around him didn't. The only thing that changed was his feelings. This is why Kant believed morality should never be based on emotions, because emotions are inconsistent. They come and go like the tide, changing from day to day, even moment to moment. And if we only act morally when we feel like it, then we are not truly moral at all. Duty is the necessity of an action done out of respect for the law. To Kant, the only real morality is one that exists independent of feeling. If something is right, then it should be done, No matter how we feel about it, if something is wrong, then it should be avoided, no matter how tempting it might be. Think about it this way. If you could choose between two people to trust with an important task, who would you pick?
The first person says, "I'll do it if I feel like it."
The second person says, "I'll do it because it's the right thing to do." The answer is obvious. The first person is unreliable, at the mercy of their moods. The second person is principled, guided by something greater than just their passing emotion. Kant believed this was the foundation of true ethics. If someone helps another person only because they feel like it, they are not truly moral. They are just following their emotions. But if someone helps another person because it is their duty to do so, regardless of how they feel, then, and only then, can their actions be called truly good. There is therefore but one categorical imperative, which is this: act only according to that maxim whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. Kant's idea of morality was simple. If a rule is truly moral, it must apply to everyone, at all times, in all situations. Ask yourself, what if everyone based their morality on feelings? What if judges sentenced criminals based on how they felt that day? What if doctors only saved lives when they were in the mood? What if parents only took care of their children when it was convenient? The world would collapse. Two things fill the mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe: the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. To Kant, morality was like the laws of the universe, unchanging, universal. It could not depend on something as fragile as human emotion, because if emotions guide morality, then morality is no longer something we choose. It is something we simply feel. And that, Kant believed, was one of the greatest dangers of all. So if emotions can't be trusted and morality can't be based on feeling, how are we supposed to make the right decision? If we can't rely on our hearts, what can we rely on? Kant had a simple answer: reason.
Unlike emotions, reason doesn't shift from moment to moment. It doesn't disappear just because we're in a bad mood, and it doesn't lead us astray because of temporary impulses. Reason forces us to think beyond right now, beyond what we want or feel, and focus on what is universally true and just.
The death of dogma is the birth of morality.
For Kant, morality wasn't something that changed on circumstance. It wasn't about what was convenient or what felt good or even what benefited us personally. Morality, he argued, had to be universal. It had to be something that could apply to everyone at all times, in all situations, without exception.
Imagine this: you're running late, you have an important meeting, and the only way to get there on time is to take a shortcut through a private alleyway. There's a sign that says, "No trespassing," but no one's watching, no one will know. It's a small thing, just a few steps off the main road. Does it really matter? Now ask yourself the question that Kant believed was the key to all moral decisions. What if everyone did this? What if everyone ignored trespassing signs whenever it was convenient? What if no one respected property laws unless they felt like it? What if rules only mattered when we wanted them to? This is what Kant called the categorical imperative. It's the idea that every action we take should be able to be turned into a universal law, something that anyone could follow at any time, in any situation. If the rule only works when some people follow it and others don't, then it's not really a moral rule at all. Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. Kant's philosophy forces us to think beyond ourselves, beyond the moment, beyond what we want, because if morality only works when it benefits us, then it isn't morality. It's just selfishness disguised as goodness. Think about lying. You might think, what's the harm in a small lie? Maybe you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Maybe you want to avoid conflict. Maybe you just want to make your life easier. But ask yourself, what if everyone lied? What if lying became the standard way of communicating? Society would collapse. Contracts would be meaningless. Trust would disappear. No one would be able to believe anything anyone said. Now take it further. What if stealing was okay as long as you really needed the money? What if breaking promises was acceptable as long as you didn't feel like keeping them? What if hurting others was fine as long as you were angry enough? Kant's point was simple. If an action can't work as a universal rule for everyone, then it isn't truly moral. Live your life as though your every act were to become a universal law. This is why Kant rejected emotions as a guide for morality, because emotions make us selfish. They make us justify things for ourselves that we would never accept from others. They allow us to believe that our situation is special, our feelings are different, our choices are unique. But morality, Kant argued, is not about you. It is about the world. It is about what would happen if everyone lived the way you live. And if you aren't willing to accept the consequences of that, then you shouldn't make the choice at all. So how do we make the right decision? Kant's answer is clear. Think beyond yourself. Think beyond your feeling. Think beyond the moment. And ask, if everyone did what I'm about to do, would the world be better or worse? And if you don't like the answer, then you already know what the right choice is. So if Kant was right, then everything we've been told about emotions, about following our hearts, about trusting our feelings, has been completely wrong. Because emotions are fleeting. They change. They can be manipulated. And if we build our morality, our decisions, even our entire lives on something so unstable, then we aren't truly in control. We're just reacting. Kant believed that real morality, real wisdom, and real strength come from reason, from thinking beyond the moment, beyond our impulses, beyond what feels good. And that forces us to ask a difficult question. Are we really making our own choices, or are we just slaves to our emotions?
Because if Kant was right, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop trusting our feeling and start trusting something deeper.
So what do you think? Are emotions a reliable guide in life, or is Kant right? Should we learn to ignore them?